The new media has transformed the manner in which we communicate with each other on a daily basis. The digital revolution, however, comes with new lessons for both industry and ordinary people. The digital era is perhaps one of the most exciting eras to experience, not only for the communications and broadcast industry, but for all of us. In fact, the digital revolution is yet to unleash its fullest potential. Now, there are various discussions taking place around regulation, which is why it's important for us to be digital savvy, to understand the legal ramifications when we put messages out there that do not comply with the law. But the question is, can the internet be regulated?
The principles of freedom of expression are in the Constitution. They're effectively exactly the same online and in the real world. Now, this is where people let themselves down often, and there's some golden rules about social media. If you wouldn't want to say it on TV or on the front page of a newspaper, then why would you put it out on Twitter? And people seem to think, for one, if you get the likes of a penny sparrow and racist comments that people put out without thinking, you wouldn't, no doubt, you wouldn't find those people walking around in shopping centres shouting out what they think. And so making people aware of the fact that, for the most part, the same principles that apply to free speech in the real world are exactly the same in the online world.
This was a recent panel discussion hosted by the IAB at Google offices in Johannesburg, together with key stakeholders, to discuss the amendment bill of the Film and Publications Board. Now, the board recently published regulations for online content.
What this bill essentially seeks to achieve is to ensure that the same standards that are being applied to content that is distributed through the traditional media platforms are applied as well online. When it comes to prohibited content, for example, our constitution is very clear and is very prescriptive in terms of what is prohibited content, what is hate speech, what is racism. So we also seek to ensure that this prohibited content do not find its way on the internet, and that the society and South African public is protected, and also create mechanisms that they can be able to use and complain in the event that they find themselves being victims of this type of online behavior.
Industry members here had plenty of questions around regulation. However, what the board is proposing is nothing new to the law. They are seeking clarity for everyone around some contentious issues.
I think there's a perception that the bill is too restrictive. There are some sectors that believe that it may discourage direct foreign investment. But of course, industry is divided on that, because there's also a strong view emerging that, of course, we need a bill like this so that it creates certainty in the markets, that online child protection should be at the center of content regulation online. So there's that, but I think also we're quite happy that we're here, because we've been able to clarify and dispel that myth, to say that we have adopted an approach that says that we need to regulate through partnerships, and we'll be relying on industry insofar as monitoring this behavior online. You see, we have Google, for example, that was in attendance. And we have the view that the digital literacy program that Google is engaged in, where they seek to empower end users with information so that they are cyber smart when they are online.
Here's what one participant had to say about the discussions here.
I thought it was a fascinating account. Great panelists who brought a diversity of views and who were trying to grapple with the issue of internet freedom in the context of business impact and business perspectives. I'm not sure that we really got to the answers that we might have needed, but I think that there was some valuable input, at least on the issues and on some of the areas of interest that must be taken forward by particularly the Film and Publications Board, and then industry bodies, especially the IAB.
Talks will likely continue in pockets across the country amongst all industry players. The board maintains we need to define ourselves as a nation and continue with these discussions to be impactful in cyberspace.
Part of what our function is an advocacy group and to provide information to our members. They're not always at the centre of these conversations, and so it's a duty of ours to take it to them. It's also important for instances like this where we have panellists we have the Chief Operating Officer of the Film and Publications Board. It's fantastic for him to be able to come and speak directly to our members. He needs to hear feedback from them, and they need to hear from him, from his mouth, exactly what it is that the Film and Publications Board are trying to do. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of rumours, and so sessions like this are really useful in bringing the various parties together.
Nashina Mohammed for Joburg Today.